10 ka pun piso. I'll be going to the Phoenix Science Center to show you something nice. The Science Center is great. Feed your brain, fill the children's brain with reality, with science. And it's get rid of the ChristPsychosis beliefs that infect the intellect and make children theotarded, stuck in the Middle Ages.
And you know, I'm going to explain to you about Easter and Passover. What it means. It's very interesting to know about Easter. I'll explain it to you. Let me explain to you about Good Friday, Day of Blood, the sanguinis, the Roman Empire, and also Passover, and also which is related to blood, and also Ashura, the martyrdom of Ali, related to Prophet Muhammad. Of course, this happened in the 70s, but it's all these incidents. Of course, the dates are in a different times of the year because in Judaism, the so-called Judaism, is the lunar calendar as well as the Muslims. And then we have in Christianity, we have, or the worship of the Christus, we have the solar calendar that was established by the son of Venus, the sacrifice Julius Caesar, the Christus. All this started with the sacrifice of the Lord and Savior Julius Caesar, his bloody sacrifice. 15th of March, 44 BC. It was on a Friday. The Romans call it the De Sanguinis. And then the third day during the Liberalia, during his funeral, his image was put in a tropaeum, wax image, and his body was cremated. And it was built a temple on that. And the ashes signified the resurrection of Julius Caesar the Christus. And the merchants, speculators, merchants of the Roman Empire, which, have been doing this for like over 3,000 years, they were the so-called Jews and Palestinians, the people that reside in the province of Judea, Palestina. And Julius Caesar the Christus protected them. People hated them because they were speculators. So when he was killed on Friday, De Sanguine was like 9/11 of the Roman Empire. And from there, Julius Caesar became a god. He was established a god, temples all over him, and he mutated with all the different gods of the different provinces. And the speculators or merchants, the so-called Jews, were the first ones at his funeral, and they mourned him. And mourning, the Savior was sacrificed, and that's with eventually the mutation of the story of an angel that was killing all the because of Moses, which is a title. The story of the Pharaoh didn't want to let all the Jews go, the slaves. So Moses sent a bunch of plagues to Egypt, and one of them was, "Hey, I want to kill the firstborn of all the people in Egypt." It's no archaeological evidence, zero. But anyway, then the angel, the Pharaoh didn't want to let anybody go, so good God of Moses sent the angel to, and he told the Jews that they must paint with blood the houses of the righteous Jews, so that way the angel pass over them and he does not kill the firstborn. That's what they pass over. But it's all related to the killing of Julius Caesar the Christus. The same thing happened. All these stories mutated eventually, and that's what. But in Christianity, you have Good Friday, which is nothing but it happened in 15th of March of 44 BC. This is the immolation of Julius Caesar the Christus. But by coincidence, in 2012, this Friday, the so-called Good Friday, the De Sanguinis, the Day of Blood, it also happens Passover, which is the 15th day of the month of Nisan, which it's all there. I mean, it's the same thing that happens on the 15th day of Nisan, the day of the so-called Passover. Then the stories mutated and they get distorted and it changed. But in reality, the whole thing started with the sacrifice of the Lord and Savior and the Christus, Julius Caesar. Because Julius Caesar was an Archelaus Megistus. Eventually, the Archelaus Megistus mutated into the Jesus Christus. And on Sunday, of course, Julius Caesar that was cremated, they saw his body going to heaven. And then with the appearance of a comet on the 20th of July of 44 BCE, when the funeral games, that was evidence that Julius Caesar was next to Venus and he had resurrected in the shape of a comet. That's where the whole Abrahamic religions come from. Mutations and more mutations. So if you believe in these things today in the 21st century without realizing and knowing history, then you have a problem with your brain. Religion is nothing but organized schizophrenia. And the thing that destroys religious psychosis is science. And you teach the children science and it dissipates the psychosis of religious beliefs and all that. If they are educated and they're trying to learn science and they're trying to keep up the fairy tales going, then they are no different than schizophrenia. You have a problem with the brain. Here, these are children learning science in Phoenix.
This is called Piso. I'm here at the Science Center in Phoenix, Arizona. April 4, 2012. Beautiful. This is paradise on earth. Beautiful building.
And Vincent van Gogh was a Christ-psychotic. His father was a pastor, a Protestant pastor, and eventually he suffered a lot of problems, mental problems, and this reason of his paintings, and eventually committed suicide. He was a Christ-psychotic.
Beautiful.
Here is
Phoenix Science Center, Phoenix, Arizona. Paradise on earth. The Valley of the Sun. And the city of Phoenix was founded thousands of years ago, but the Hohokam, the ancient ones, the true owners of the continent. And of course, now we have, from the ashes of the Hohokam, the city of Phoenix, Arizona, one of the most beautiful modern cities on the planet, especially because of the climate. The location. The location is amazing. It's fantastic. And here is Heritage Square, which is the old houses. They are all restored. Used to be. It's a beautiful area here, downtown Phoenix. You see the many houses. They're all restored of the 1820s. And we have the birds of Venus, which are pigeons. Sacred bird of the goddess Venus, which is, of course, Maya, the mother of Julius Caesar the Christus. See the beautiful Science Center here in gorgeous Phoenix, Arizona. They have the Van Gogh exhibit. An important thing to fight the neurological disorder of some bigot belief, in other words, Christianity, is to teach kids and bring them up in school buses to science centers like this. And then, if they have a healthy brain and not infected by the parents with this Christian crap, then you can get some science in them, some reality. Because we are evolved, mutated primates that create bizarre metamagical beliefs of God belief, etc., with our brains. Religions becomes organized as schizophrenia. God does not exist. It's a creation of the brain. And science attests to that, especially the science of neurology. You can see our dinosaurs, which are the birds. And of course I talk to them in other language. And there's one right in there. Right in there.
It is good to be mentally healthy. In other words, an atheist.
And see, science, nature, trying to explain all this, I think is extremely important. To teach the children about science is that, there is no God. Everything is created with the brain. The brain is the creator of the mind, of thoughts. And of course, when it's infected and it malfunctions, then it creates God, belief, imaginary friends, etc., accepting as reality, just like schizophrenia. And religion becomes nothing but organized schizophrenia today in the 21st century. Neurology proves it. And these are the future. The future of mankind are the kids. All this, imagine those kids like 30 years from now. It's science, it's technology. But they have to be stamped out. Religious faith is a psychosis, an anomaly that we don't need in this 21st century. It's product of malfunctioning
And
brain.
churches corrupt their brains.
And it's interesting that we can see the dinosaurs communicating with each other. Right there. One talking to the other. Beautiful birds. Here at the Phoenix, Arizona Science Center. See the flag of this beautiful paradise on earth, Arizona. You have the star and you have the rays of the sun and the silhouette of the city in the background. And here is the Science Center in Phoenix, Arizona. And the airport is nearby, so it's another plane. It's a plane about to land. This is Capun Piso, April 4th, 2012. Here I'm the Phoenix Science Center, downtown Phoenix, gorgeous Arizona. And we're going to have an exhibit of Van Gogh. And here it is, Van Gogh exhibit. It's interesting about his life of the artist. Oscar's brought up in ChristPsychosis, the schizophrenia type beliefs.
His father was a Protestant minister.
It'll be an interesting exhibit, but I cannot take pictures inside. Of course, this is my friend Paul coming over here.
Hey, how's it going, Paul? How you doing?
And this is my friend Paul.
Who knew my dad?
And, we are here at Phoenix Science Center. It is April 4th, 2012.
And we are here to see some real science. No fairy tales allowed inside the Science Museum.
Exactly, the exhibit of Van Gogh.
Yes, we're going to see the real thing.
Here at the Science Center, and of course, this is some of the pieces, and Paul is looking at that. And this is amazing because they can teach kids all these beautiful things and all science. It is important to teach. It's important to teach kids science. Now, it's important to teach kids science because brain is the one that creates the mind and all that. And if it's infected with religious psychosis or believing God and nonsense like that, it keeps the mind retarded or theotarded, stuck in the Middle Ages. And this is the problem with all religions today, because religious beliefs are organized as schizophrenia. And many people, especially atheists, scholars like Dawkins, Sherman, and all that, are blind. They don't understand that. They don't link religious belief with the schizophrenia, thus they don't get anywhere. And this is a medical exhibit which is very good for kids. They show you about the bones and the joints and about how milk is good for you. See, now if they only talk about ChristPsychosis, how it affects the brain and makes you crazy and stupid. Joints, x-rays, beautiful. It's beautiful to teach the kids science. Getting rid of this ChristPsychosis and believing God nonsense that screwed up the brain. We're in the 21st century, not the 12th. So this is beautiful, and these are the future. Kids are the future. You know, children are the future. And it shows the stomach and all that. Very neat. Great to have exhibits like this for children. A science exhibit.
Awesome. So I answered that question for you. Thank you, Kyle, for speaking up behind me. Thank you, Kyle. Really cool exhibit here. But more on that later. Because we've got to talk about the sphere.
The future of humanity is teaching people science, kids science. And eradicate and get all the churches out of the country.
So there's a chart there.
Science.
It is wonderful to teach these kids science because many are brought up in ChristPsychosis infected home with all this bunch of beliefs in God nonsense.
Science is wonderful. We create everything with the brain. God is a creation of the brain. If you believe in God, you're a theotard.
Believing God is like a schizophrenia. It affects the brain, it stagnates the intellect, and makes people retarded, stupid, stuck in the Middle Ages. It's important to teach the kids the brain is the creator of the mind.
It's beautiful when kids learn about science. All in the brain, they're the future. Get rid of religious psychosis. Close all the churches. People think churches infect the mind of children. You know, they make them theotarded, imbeciles, and having a problem with the brain. And they're like psychopaths. Because religious beliefs are organized as schizophrenia. Simple as that. The brain is the one that creates the mind, not the ass. And we're in the 21st century. And neurology proves that we create the mind with the brain, neurons and axons and all that electromagnetic. It's a product of evolution for, over 4 billion years when the planet was created. So that's a fact. And they're trying to teach kids science. And that's wonderful. Wonderful. It's the future of humanity. And the internet and technology will destroy the Christ. Phoenix is a beautiful city.
Now, after seeing the beautiful exhibit, my dear friend Paul invited me to the Phoenix Country Club so we can further discuss the psychosis of God belief.
And here we are entering Phoenix Country Club.
The last thing you needed this week was
Going to have lunch here.
and you're too busy to do a ton of research. Customer reviews on the top
Phoenix Country Club.
repair shops in Europe.
In the beautiful, gorgeous Valley of the Sun.
Too bad it is infected with many ChristPsychosis infected imbeciles.
And here, I'm of course with my brother Paul here.
Yes.
And we're going to have a nice little lunch here.
lunch together.
At the Phoenix Country Club. Paradise, Arizona. There. And we're going to have a nice little lunch.
And exchange thoughts created by our mentally healthy, in other words, atheist brains about ChristPsychosis and
Oh,
what
yeah, this is
affects
fine.
America today.
Now we're going to have a nice little supper. This is a beautiful area, you see. The whole city of Phoenix. You can see the whole place. Oh, great. Nice Phoenix, Arizona. And of course, we have to toast
That's right, the big
to health, wealth, and happiness. To your health, my friend, my brother Paul. Good wine, too. Great. The spirits. You know, in Rome, it was called mulsum. You put honey on it, water, and also, if you were a priest, you put datura flowers, and then with datura flowers, boy, you can see all the spirits.
See everything.
Here at the Phoenix Country Club. Of course, I ordered this. It's very nice. It's like poblano. And you can see people playing golf.
A silly game, in my opinion. We ought to have gladiatorial combats. Instead, a lobotomy will remove the zombie God belief, guaranteed. The stupid fairy tales of Easter, Good Friday, Passover, and the rest of bloody nonsense sacrifice, they all originated from the sacrifice of Julius Caesar the Christus over 2,000 years ago. And also the Ashura comes from that. That's where the blood sacrifice comes from. So if you believe in God and you believe in all this blood sacrifice and Passover and crap like that, you are affected by a neurological disorder not unlike schizophrenia, because believing in all the bizarre metamagical beliefs as true is a mental illness.